Right then guys, so I'm chilling you with my Dummerals boa, and today we're just going to talk real quick about Dummerals boas, or any boa, constrictor, this type boa, the bigger boas versus the royal pythons. Now obviously these are a lot bigger than royals, so you need to be prepared for that. I think the Dummerals especially, they're absolutely gorgeous. If you look at the pattern and stuff there, really gorgeous snakes. I think they're one of the prettiest snakes on the planet. You don't hold a boa really holds you, to be honest, and I think they're amazing. I wouldn't trade my Dummerals for the world. I really like these snakes. They're very chunky built and stern. They're nice and long, they've got a good size, but they're not too big for one person to handle. This boy here can be a little bit stroppy on times, but most of the times he's pretty good. He's holding on to my arm real tight here, okay? I'm not holding him at all. He's doing all of that by himself, which is pretty awesome. Now I'm not going to actually be comparing the Dummerals boa K-wise and stuff to the royal pythons or ball pythons, and that is just for the simple fact they're not very common, and most people that are looking to get a boa or a ball python are either looking to get a BCI, sorry, or something like that. They wouldn't really be looking to get a Dummerals because they're not commonly available. If you're looking to get a Dummerals, you're looking to get a Dummerals, if that makes any sense. So a K guide for the Dummerals will be in the card above. But let's just get straight into it. Boa constrictors versus the ball pythons. So the ball pythons then, the Dummerals boa, much stronger and much bigger than a ball python, okay? They do need a lot more respect. I think they're fantastic to handle personally. They don't always do what you want them to do, but other than that they're great. They're quite sizable and heavy, I find. They can be a little bit of a handful, but they're not too much for one person to handle. And if you've got a dorsal specimen of a boa, which most of them are, then they're really good pet snakes, to be honest with you. They're not so big that you're in any trouble at all handling one. As far as feeding goes, boas eat like monsters. They really smash it down. The only thing I'd be concerned about is getting one fat. I wouldn't be concerned about one going off food at all. One thing you need to know if you're thinking about getting a boa and you've already got pythons is that boas can actually carry a disease called IBD. Yeah, they can carry IBD, and that normally it doesn't show any symptoms in boas, but if you've got a ball python, then they will succumb to IBD really quickly. So that's just something to bear in mind. Whereas a boa could live, you know, a long life with IBD, and you know, you don't even know about it unless you get it tested. So that's just something to bear in mind as like a little side note. Another thing that's a big difference, obviously, because of their size, Dummeral boas need bigger enclosures. You can keep a Dummerals boa in either a 4x2 or a 6x2. Depends on their size, really. These are bigger specimens of Dummerals that I've got. Some of them stay a lot smaller. Like this is actually a boy, believe it or not. For a Dummerals boa, my pair are actually huge. They're 11 years old and they've never been bred, so that's probably why. This boy is weighing in at about 6 kilos, and his girlfriend in there is weighing in at about 9 kilos. But obviously boa constrictors, they get bigger than these, quite a bit bigger. You can get, you know, 25 kilo or more boas, but it depends on how you feed them, really, how big they're going to get. If you feed a snake like you want it to get it to 25 kilos, it will get to 25 kilos. It might actually end up like a fat snake, but it'll get there. It will get to that weight. So just bear that in mind if you're buying a youngster. Most boa constrictors, you're looking at about 7 to 8 feet, maybe sometimes larger. I've heard people say, you know, 10-foot common boas, but I've never actually seen one for myself, so I don't really know about that. That's the jury's out on that for me. I think a lot of people exaggerate how big their snakes are. But if you feed a BCI, you know, reasonably, then you shouldn't really have it any more than 8 feet. If it's a female, if it's a male, 6 to 7 feet. If it's fed reasonable amounts, is a realistic sort of adult size. They're quite weighty, as I've said, and you do need a bigger enclosure than what you do a royal. And with that bigger size, you've also got to bear in mind you've got to have bigger prey items. You can feed them less often than a royal, but obviously the feeding cost is going to be more expensive. And as I always say, the bigger the snake, the bigger the poop. I'm just trying to stop him from getting into any of my camera equipment here. He's doing his own thing, bless him. Yeah, as long as he's going over there, I don't mind. He's got a very firm grip on my neck, but again, it's nothing I can't handle on my own. If I wanted to get him off completely, I'd have no issue doing it. He's just trying to tap my stand ears, and I don't want him to do that for obvious reasons. He'd break my camera. Yeah, so if he's a bit of a handful, you can imagine what, you know, a bigger boa would be like. They're a lot more of a handful, but generally they're very calm. They're much better eaters than royals, and they need similar sort of humidity and stuff like that as royals. The temperatures are a little bit different. I'll put care guides below for both. As always, make sure you do your own research. Now, I'll just get a royal out real quick, or a ball python out real quick, just to show you what they like for handling compared to these. I much prefer to handle boas than what I do ball pythons. They hold you rather than you holding them, as I say at the start of the video. So let me just get a royal out, put this boy away, and we'll finish the video off. Right, so I'm back. I'm with my 4-gene girl, as you can see. She started eating again, which I'm really happy about, and she's just had a nice full shed, so she's looking pucker. So yeah, as you can see, this is a sub-adult, a lot smaller than that boa I just showed you there. So the size of the meals and the sort of caging, they're both going to be drastically smaller than a boa. But that is really the only downside to a boa over the royal, and obviously the handling wise. But that's a pro or a con, really, depends the way you look at it. I personally like holding a big snake. I find them more interactive and stuff like that. But if I just want to chill and watch telly, then I'll get one of these out, and they're fantastic. I'd never be without either species, so I wouldn't want to pick between them, to be honest with you. But yeah, this is the girl. There's colour mutations available in both of them, lots of different mutations actually. Obviously the Dummerals boa that I just showed you, that isn't a colour mutation, that's actually a locality, so just bear that in mind if you're looking for that sort of colour phase. It's a locality specific boa, and if you're in the UK you need paperwork to own one. So all it is the same type of paperwork as what you need for a Herman's tortoise, just to prove that it's not wild caught, and that's it. But there's lots of colour mutations available. You can get plenty for reasonably cheap. You can get albinos in both. You can get hypos in both. Anuthristics in both. The ball pythons actually got a lot more mutations than the boas. So if you're big on mutations, perhaps the ball python's for you. I would recommend most people get a royal over getting a boa as their first snake, or maybe even a different kind of python. You can see my warmer python versus spotted python video that I've done. Yeah, so there's plenty to choose from, to be honest though. But they both could be kept as first snakes. I would recommend these because they are smaller, as I've said. I think that's about it for today, guys. I'm starting to ramble now, so I'll cut the ear. But they're both fantastic snakes. Make sure you do your research on whatever one you get. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.